Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of Roll and Move Reviews. My name is Kirk, I am your host. As always, thank you so much for watching. I chose the game we're going to talk about today because I realized that I've done a handful of these reviews so far and I've yet to talk about a Euro game. Euros, for those of you who may not be familiar with the term, are a style of game that of course originated in Europe, and they focus on tight mechanics, a clean rule set, and a lack or at least very minimal luck factor. And they downplay things like theme and direct player conflict. There are a lot of players, a lot of gamers who will only play Euro games or who at least focus heavily on them, and I definitely didn't want to dismiss that potential segment of the audience. At the same time, I figured there may be some of you who don't play Euros or won't play Euros, and I thought maybe we'll take a look at one and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. So the game I decided to look at today is Fresco from Queen Games. In Fresco, we take on the role of Renaissance painters who have been selected to restore the fresco of a chapel, and our goal is to do the best job at the restoration and hopefully be named Master Painter. Sounds like a lot of fun, but let's take a look. Here's a good look at the entire board. This painting in the middle here is the fresco that we're attempting to restore, and if we're good enough at our jobs, that's what it'll look like at the end of the game. But to start out, it's going to be covered by these tiles that we're going to use our awesome painting skills to remove, and that's going to represent the restoration of the fresco, and that's how we're going to clean it up and make this beautiful painting at the end. So this is what your board is going to look like to start the game. You take your bishop who's overseeing the project, you stick him right in the middle. We'll talk about him later. And you're ready to begin. Every round, turn order is based on who wakes their workers up earliest that day. Whoever gets up first gets to go first in every phase of the round. You can see here there's several choices you have as to when you wake your workers up, and that decision is made in reverse score order. So whoever's in last place gets to decide first when they wake up, working all the way up to first place. You see that wake up time not only affects turn order, but a few other things as well. First of all, that middle column is mood, and you can tell by the negative numbers the earlier you wake up. If you wake them up too early, they're not going to be happy with you. You take that modifier and you bring it down to the mood track, and after you wake your guys up, you move them up and down depending on how happy or unhappy they are with you. If you make them really happy, you move all the way up to this +1 track. You get a good reputation as a nice boss, and you get an extra worker. But if you move them down to -1, they get too unhappy with you, somebody quits, and you lose one of the workers you start out with. The other effect wake up time has is on the cost of paint for that day. You see that row of coins, that's how much paint's going to cost you when you go to the market. Obviously, the guys who get up earlier, they have more stock to choose from, but it's more expensive. Towards the end of the day, they're just going to be looking to blow out the junk that nobody else wants. Once turn order has been established, each player secretly takes one of these player boards and their workers, plus or minus whatever they've lost or gained through mood, and you secretly choose what actions you want to take that round. Each column represents a different phase of the round, and you can do each one up to 3 times, as you can see. Once everybody's selected, reveal at the same time, and move on to the different action phases. We're going to start up here at the market phase. This is where you buy your paint. If you took a market action, you choose a booth. You buy each tile separately, spending whatever amount was on your wake up time. Or if you want, you can just close down a booth to keep your opponents from getting it. When you buy the paint, you get these wooden chips to represent it, and you use those later to restore the fresco and mix to make new paints. After that, we're going to move on down here to the fresco for the restoration phase, which is obviously the bread and butter of the game. Here we're going to restore the fresco one tile at a time by fulfilling these color requirements on each tile. So say I want to restore this section right here. I'm going to turn in those paints, yellow, blue, and green. I'll take that tile, I'll earn the 5 victory points, and then I flip that over, and that number there, that coin, is now my income. So each tile I restore will earn me income in future rounds. Remember I said the bishop is supervising, so he comes over to check out your work. And if anybody restores tiles on or near where the bishop is, they're going to get bonus points for that. Restoration is followed by your studio and workshop phases. In the studio, you're just taking on a little extra work to make ends meet. You paint a portrait for somebody, and you take 3 coins. In the workshop, you're mixing paints for the next day's work. So say I want to get a green paint, I'll turn in a yellow and blue, mix those, and I'll take a green. And as you can see, the primaries are a little smaller than the secondaries to show that the primaries were mixed. Finally, we're going to go to the theater stage. Your workers have a long day, they're cranky, you woke them up early, so you send them to the theater. Every worker you have there, you just move up the move jack to. That helps, especially if you know you're going to have to wake them up early tomorrow, they're going to be in a bad mood. This lets them blow off a little bit of steam. That's the end of the turn. The phases continue like this until you've narrowed down the tiles on the fresco. Most of it's exposed. You add up your points on your tiles. You'll get 1 extra point for each 2 coins you have left at the end. And, like I said, the highest score is the master painter and wins the game. One of the things I love about this game right off the bat is how pretty it is. With some Euros, you don't exactly get a high value placed on aesthetics, so you end up looking at pretty much every shade of tan or brown you can think of. Obviously not the case with this game. You get a lot of pretty, vibrant colors, very soothing artwork. The game's just fun to take off the shelf and set up. That's how nice looking it is. Obviously a game about art that only makes sense that it would look that nice. If it didn't, I mean, the weight of that might collapse the whole game. But as it stands, it's a very nice game to look at. I also love the mechanics in this game. With a lot of Euros, the mechanics always make sense, but it's a little abstract. You know, you may take a cube and put it on a section of the board that's the farm, so that cube's now farming, and at the end of the turn you get some other cubes back that represent sheep or corn or whatever it is you were farming for. And it makes sense, but you don't really feel the mechanics actually happening like they're really there in front of you. With this game, it's real or it's organic. It makes sense what's happening. You know, whoever wakes up earliest gets the most done. But they're also in a worse mood. I mean, who can't relate to that? That's real life. I got to wake up for work tomorrow. I got to get up early, and I'm going to be miserable when I do it. If by some fluke I get to sleep in, I'm going to get a lot less done that day, but I'm going to be in a much better mood doing it. I mean, that just makes so much sense. And you progress through the day of these painters, and I feel like, you know, from their job to their second job to finishing up in the workshop to maybe going to the theater if they're lucky. I mean, I feel like I'm really experiencing a day in the life of these painters. Not just with the Euro games, but with any game. This game has great mechanics, more than most that I can think of, where you really feel like you're experiencing what you're supposed to be experiencing through the theme. One of my favorite things about the game, though, is how it scores. Almost all scoring is instantaneous. Like I said, at the end you get a few points for how much money you have left, but beyond that you just score the tiles you fulfill, and you score it instantly, and that's it. There's no hidden scoring, no late game scoring. Everything is done as it happens. On the other hand, remember that your wake-up time is dictated by whoever is last on the score track. So you got to make a decision. Am I ready to break ahead in the score and really get ahead and let my wake-up time, and therefore pretty much my entire turn, be dictated by the other players? Or do I want to kind of hang back and control the board till later in the game? So there's this constant jockeying position on the scoreboard, deciding how far you want to get ahead. No one ever really jumps too far because they want to be able to have some control. So you're leapfrogging each other, fighting for position, and it's just a really cool mechanic in the scoring, and it really keeps everything close, really tight, and it really matters what everybody else does. So overall, I really recommend this game. If you're a hardcore Euro player, this might be a level beneath you. You've probably already played it and have moved on to higher level games. It would be considered probably on the lighter side of Euro games. But if it's something you're looking to break into, either in Euros or gaming in general, it's a great place to start. The rules aren't very difficult. It's a pretty simple game as far as rules go, although there's tons of strategy. It's easy to learn, easy to teach, good for families. The box says 10 and up on the ages, and I think that makes sense. That's pretty good age for it. So I definitely recommend Fresco. It's a very fun game, great looking game, very inviting. I think it'd be easy to get people to play, get a group together, and check it out, Fresco. Okay, everybody, that's it for another episode of Roll and Move Reviews. Thanks again for watching. I hope you had a fun time. Either way, tell me about it in the comments section. Let me know if these reviews are helpful for you, or if you have suggestions of something that maybe I could be doing differently. While we're at it, let's talk about our sponsor website, alteregogames.net. It's a great game store. You should go check it out, see what they have, see what deals they can give you. I promise you'll walk away happy. As always, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and if you'd like to email me directly, you can reach me at rollandmovereviews@gmail.com. Otherwise, that's it for this time, guys. See you soon.